Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another Battle to the Death for you. Today we have two very excellent knives. The D2 blade G10 handle Chinese made ball bearing flipper market is full right now. I mean, there's a whole ton of them. And these two are two that I think are the absolute best. It's a great market segment to get into, especially if you're a beginning collector, things like that. Neither of these are horribly expensive at all, and they're both just very excellent knives. I think these are two of the best. I will say, I'll preface this by saying, there's no real loser here. Both of these knives are great. Either one of these you choose, you're making a good choice. What we have is the Tuyaknife Bruiser up here on top and the Bestech Paladin down here below on the bottom. Both of these pretty new knives to the market. Both good contenders for my end of year best budget knife of 2018. Both really, really cool knives. Let's just get into it right now and do some stats and get things started off with. We will start off with the Tuya. You have an overall length of just under 8.5 inches, pretty good size knife. Blade length of about 3.6 inches. You have a blade thickness of 0.15 inches. Handle thickness of as near as not to matter 0.6 inches, and a weight of about 4.9 ounces. So not terribly light, but not terribly heavy either. Now let's move to the Paladin. You have an overall length almost exactly the same, again about 8.4 inches. Blade length of, again, about the same, about 3.6 inches. You have a handle thickness, again, 0.55 inches is what I measured it at, so a little slimmer than the Tuya, but not by a whole lot. And the blade stock thickness, a little thinner at 0.13 inches. And a weight of 4.5 ounces, so just a little bit lighter, but not dramatically so. All right, let's talk about our scoring categories and stuff here and how these work. We have 7 categories I'm going to score these on to choose a winner. We have aesthetic and design, you have quality, you have blade, ergonomics, carry, deployment, and value. Get all my fingers in there. Feel like I'm throwing gang signs. We'll add up the scores at the end. We will pick a winner. All right, first of all, let's go through like the aesthetic design of these. I really like the look of the Paladin. I just think it's the perfect blend of simple. It's a very simple looking knife, but it has just enough things to keep it interesting. Got this really cool little swoop through the G10, which I like a whole lot. And it's got a quasi sort of Persian-y sweep, just a bit, just a hint of it, not enough that it's going to bother anybody. Whereas the Tuya, the Bruiser, it's just a bit busy for me, I guess. All these little cutting edge, all these little edges milled in and stuff, which don't do any favors for the ergonomics either. We'll get into that in a moment. But neither of them are bad looking designs. I actually like the look of the blade better on the Bruiser, but the overall package, I have to say, the Paladin is just a simple, cool. I just like it. It's just a. And it's not just a Brian spec thing. I like this in other colors also. Both of these do come in multiple colors, by the way. The Paladin comes in I want to make sure I get this right, an orange, this black, or a tan, and you can get it either in this plain blade like I did with the stonewash flats, or you can get up here on the flats a kind of a black wash, very, very similar to what's on the Tuya. And in the Tuya, you can get even more colors, and again, I have to reference my list to make sure that I don't miss any of them. You can get it either with these kind of black wash flats, or without, or just with plain satin. You can get it in a green, a black, a beige, or a red. So multiple color choices on all these. Aesthetics is always kind of your choice, but I really like the look of this. I think it's interesting but simple. And I really do like the look of the Paladin better. It's just kind of my thing. Now, quality-wise, pretty much a tie. It's just they're both about the same quality feel of the G10. They're both about the same quality feeling of all the bearings. They both have really good blade centering. Both have good lockup. Both have milled out liners and stuff, and it's just, there's nothing really to separate the two as far as quality goes. It's just, again, kind of which one you prefer. as far as the feel of it. But as far as feeling if one is worth more than the other, I can't really pick one between that. So I'm going to have to call that a tie. They both use very similar hardware, both a whole lot of very similar aspects to them. So not really much to separate them there. Now in the blade, this was a close one, but I am going to give it to the Paladin just because it's a little thinner stock and thickness behind the edge. I don't remember the exact measurements, but this is just a little bit thinner behind the edge. Excuse me. So a little bit better of a slicer. And I just like the blade shape a little bit better. It's got a bit more of a robust tip here. Put my hand behind it so it'll focus in. The tip is just a bit more robust on this, but yeah, it still retains to be a little bit better of a slicer. Not much of a win at all. I mean, they're both the same quality D2. I've had no problems with either of them. I've used, not necessarily these two, but I've used Bruisers and Paladins a lot. And it's just that those two tiny little things, I have to give a slight win to the Paladin as far as that goes. Now, ergonomics, I get what Tuya was trying to do to make this more visually interesting, but you do feel all these little striations and stuff. It's not a big deal. Again, both of these are excellent, so I'm not trying to knock one over the other, but both of them are excellent. But this is pretty good ergonomically, but this is just awesome ergonomically. Like, you're just, both of these knives, you're dealing with various degrees of great, so it's not much to complain about, but no hot spots whatsoever. And it just feels really good in your hand. The jimping is excellent on this. It's got really good jimping. I do wish that it had a bit more of a choil like this does, and this almost made me give the win ergonomically to this because you can choke up on it. But the jimping stops too short. I wish the jimping went farther up. And just, you can always feel those striations. You can just kind of feel it. So where you can't on the Paladin. And they're not really giving you a whole lot of grip, because you're still sliding forward. So if they were there and provided additional grip, I might give the win to this, but they're not. They face forward the direction your hand's going to be sliding, so they're really not doing a whole lot as far as that goes. They're just kind of there for looks, and you can feel them. So give the win in the ergonomics to the Paladin. In the carry, again, narrow, but I have to give it to the Tuya. And really, it's honestly two very small things. It has a deep carry pocket clip, which I love deep carry pocket clips, and a really sexy one too, I have to say. I really do like their pocket clips. The Tuya pocket clips are awesome, and I have heard they do fit some other knives. I saw somebody fit one to a rake, so I kind of almost want to get an extra one of these to ask Dave Warren very nicely if I can get one. And also the other thing is the flipper tab is just protrudes a little bit less. Again, both of these carry very well for their size, but got to give the win to the Tuya for that. As far as deployment goes, they run on pretty much identical bearings, all ceramic stuff. It's all the same kind of setup, and the D10 is really good on both of them. They both drop shut almost exactly the same. Tie. They're both almost identical that way. The flipper tab on the Paladin could use, I would like if it had just a tiny bit of jimping up here, whereas on the Tuya, I wish that this jimping was a bit more aggressive. So I'm even. I have my two tiny little complaints are even almost exactly the same. So got to call it a tie on that. As far as value, they're almost the same price, $48 for the Tuya versus $52 for the Paladin. They both have U.S. representation now. Dave Warren, great guy who handles all this. I'll link down to their site down below because I do admit it is a bit hard to find. Great representation, great guy. Bestech now has a really great U.S. rep. Stasa 23, we all know him. He does all that stuff. And again, if quality is the same and the representation is the same, you're gonna want to call that a tie. But I guess this is $5 cheaper, 48 versus 52. So I guess I got to give the edge to the Tuya on that. But again, not by a lot. So the win goes to, by the scores, 3-2 with, yeah, make sure I'm doing math right. Yeah, 3-2 with 2 ties to the Bestech Paladin. But again, they're both awesome. You can't go wrong with either one. I just happen to prefer the look of the Paladin better. These are definitely, I think, currently the 2 best of this China D2 ball bearing flipper lot. It's just the Paladin is the best one, where this is slightly the second best, in my opinion. And if you disagree with me, I would not argue with you a bit. They're both great knives. Both a great value. Couldn't knock someone for getting any of them. The final decision for me to make sure, made me say like, oh, this one wins, is this is not the last Paladin you saw on this channel. That last one was in a pass around group, and I went out and bought one. And I rarely do that. Usually if I get something in a pass around group, I have to really like it to go out and buy one, because I've already gotten it, I've already videoed it, I've already gotten the content, I've already sent it off, and it kind of just leaves my mind. Where the Paladin was one that I thought, no, I really need to own one of these as a benchmark for these China D2, G10 ball bearing flippers. And I do think this is the best. This is excellent. This is just the best. So I really highly recommend this knife. I'm certain this will make my best of 2018 list somewhere. It's just a great job done by Bestech. So hope you guys have enjoyed this and found it informative. Have a good one.